All right, enough! Stop! Get off! No. You came to my house to beat a little, helpless dog to death.
The alarm bell rings, but the sleepyhead pretends it doesn't exist. So Runt takes over and wakes him the messy, up-close way only a dog would. Now awake, he shuffles through his routine, mixing crushed medications into the dog's food. But the animal sniffs it once and refuses. The boy goes on to get dressed, grabs his bike, and rides off, leaving his pet at the door, whining with that thin, offended sound dogs make when they've been ditched. At the traffic light, the young boy gets distracted by 3 women in a gray-colored convertible, each casually shedding a piece of clothing. But before he can enjoy the view, Vic and his friends pull up in between, one awkwardly puffing smoke while the guy in the back is just plain messy. The driver snaps at him, the light turns green, and everyone moves on. Once they're at school, one guy plants a coin on the floor and waits, patient as a trap, and Cal predictably bends down to pick it up, earning a sharp stomp to the body as the guy and his friends crack up. Cecily, who's just on time, half-heartedly protests, but nobody really stops it. It's test time, and the resident thug won't let the boy work in peace, nudging him, forcing him to angle his paper just enough to copy from. Moments later, the teacher catches it and pulls the smart boy aside, pressing him to spill why he's letting the other guys copy his work, then threatens to fail him if he doesn't talk. The next class starts, and Gabriella, Cal's crush, walks in, so he quickly finishes a sketch of her instead of paying attention. Moments later, after group work is announced, he immediately slides into her group, quietly bumping someone else out, then tries to spark a conversation with the girl but gets almost nothing back. After the group activity, a friend Borghi leans over and warns him that liking that particular girl, or handing over the small pencil sketch, is dangerous, since she's Vic's girlfriend. Meanwhile, she's laughing at her boyfriend's possibly lame joke at the other table, while he's handling her a bit too hard. The admirer stares like he's memorizing her every move, barely blinking, and then muttering that she deserves better.
She can do so much better.
Now, at the art studio, the teacher notices Cal's UCLA acceptance letter sticking out of his thin portfolio, but he says he's holding out for Rhode Island instead. Once she steps away, the girl who likes him leans in and asks about the homecoming dance, but his friend cuts her off to sort of protect him. Seconds later, the bell rings, and he leaves in a hurry like Cecily barely exists. On the walkway, he catches up to his crush and asks her about homecoming, but she shrugs it off as old school, claiming no one attends those things. As she walks away, he spots her bag half-zippered and slides the sketch inside without her noticing. Moments later, the same boys catch up, shove him roughly over their failed test, and accuse him of snitching. But he denies it. Unsatisfied, they ride off on his bike, leaving Cal walking behind, the words, "We just want to talk," hanging like a challenge.
Just trying to talk to you.
One he accepts. He follows them to the sports grounds to demand his bike, but they insist he convince the teacher to pass the failed students, who have also been banned from the school team. Vic argues the team needs them, and his future depends on their success, but Cal stands firm, refusing to be intimidated. Angry, the thugs shove him into a trash can and roll it down the stairs like a piece of trash. After that ordeal, he makes it to work late and then back home to Runt, walking past the dog without a glance. This draws another round of high-pitched whining, though he eventually steps out with him for playtime.
Okay.
The next day at school, a report reaches the principal that a student was attacked by members of the team and Cal's summoned. Before he can respond properly, the coach enters with his boy, who claims Cal has been stalking his girlfriend, presenting the drawing as proof. Everyone knows the game being played, so the stalker denies being attacked.
Nothing happened on the football field yesterday.
While the principal tears the drawing, giving both boys a clean slate, and even though the tension dissolves, it still lingers in Cal's head moving on. The girl who has a crush on him shows up and sees him bruised, concern flickering across her face, but Cal shrugs it off, calling it a mild bike accident, jaw tight, trying not to show how sore he really is. She asks him to go to the homecoming dance, and he declines with the famous line,
"Nobody goes to those things."
Shoulders stiff. She corrects him that people go, but just don't go there to dance, then walks off. Later that day, he spots her in a corner, stops, and then they catch up with lowered voices. The girl questions him again, and he admits the bruises weren't from an accident, relaxing slightly as he shares it. In a moment, he gives her a lift on his bike, pedaling slowly at first, and then crashing to the ground, but they're both lighthearted about it. As they dust themselves, he notices her legs as she steadies herself, fine and toned, then wonders why she keeps wearing long skirts and dresses when she clearly has what he thinks are great legs. But she says it's just her choice, even though confident her legs are really hot.
I know.
The next day at school, he overhears the fiery coach pressing the teacher who failed his boys to rescind the decision, voice low but forceful, listing reasons and consequences. Now, at the group activity, Gabriella praises the drawing, apologizes for the earlier incident, and casually invites him to her boyfriend's party with a soft and sincere smile.
Your picture was really good.
Later, Cal's friend is grinning ear to ear for him, and when the girl who likes him jumps into the discussion, the friend shuts her down sharply, calling her family a bunch of addicts, leaving the girl defending her lineage and still proud of her family. After holding out on attending the party, his friend's insistence and a subtle consent from his dog finally convinces him to go, and they head there later that night. Inside the house, his friend slips into a group of girls and mixes up while Cal struts through the house, eyes scanning, until he finally spots the boys sniffing what shouldn't be sniffed, prompting a tight twist in his stomach as he watches. Just then, his crush appears. They start chatting cheerfully, but she's distracted by the boys and walks off, leaving him hanging. Downstairs, the other girl slips in quietly and runs into Vic's girlfriend, who immediately recognizes her from school. She's impressed with her dress, but gives her choice of footwear a sharp thumbs down. The invited guest approaches and starts talking with Miss Hotlegs, and moments later they step into the garden to catch up, unaware that the thugs have noticed their presence. Trouble hits fast as they try to get back inside. The boys block their path, smirk and sneer on their faces, taunting Cal relentlessly. She protests, but they shove him into a car trunk, banging the lid so hard.
What the hell do you think you're doing? Let him out of their face! Let me out!
He can hear her scream as the leader touches her inappropriately, muttering about payback for Cal stalking his girlfriend. To him, it's an even game. Cal scrambles out through the back seat, heart pounding, just as Gabriella arrives, scolding the boys sharply for being out of control. The victim is too shaken to respond or let anyone close, so she gets into her van and drives off, leaving Cal standing in the driveway, chest heaving, muttering curses at the waywards as he runs off into the night. The next day at school, his friend tries to pull him aside for a conversation, but he declines, saying he's done with pretending, tired of Borghi constantly fooling himself. Amid it all, Cal's told the gang of blockheads do not take him seriously because he never fights back, always backing off.
You were the goddamn joke, Borghi!
Over the next few days, he stays mute and tight, refusing to talk with anyone, even balling up a note from Vic's girl and tossing it in the trash, a hollow frustration settling in his chest. After classes one afternoon, he finds his bike sprawled on the ground, chain snapped, and in that moment, the boys drive past brandishing the middle finger at him. He swallows the anger, jaw tight, and drags himself to work, but it's too late, and the supervisor's expression is final. No mercy. He gets sacked. Once home, he finds his mom asleep, room dark and quiet, and still simmering. He grabs her blue car and drives all the way to Vic's place with Runt. He tries to puncture the car tire but fails, and then a sharp, reckless thought hits. As if the can keeps calling him, he goes on to grab petrol from the garage, pours it into the trunk, and lights it. The car is in flames in minutes, but he doesn't run fast enough as one of the boys catches sight of him as he makes his way. The next morning, his never-available mom complains about being exhausted, hands him $1 for dog food, and he gently refuses, reminding her he works and can handle it himself. She pauses, retrieves the cash, then thanks him, before leaving. Later that day, the schoolboy decides to visit his friend, but her dad answers the door and shuts it down immediately, saying she's not available. He backs off and waits at her usual spot instead, but runs straight into the boys from school. Heart spiking and instincts kicking in as he bolts, he ducks, and hides until they lose him. His next stop is a weapons shop for some protection, before heading home without looking back. That evening, he meets up with his friend and asks if she plans on going to the police about what happened. But she declines, labeling her case complicated. She goes on to explain that her dad would overreact and turn everything into a disaster. Hence, her insistence on keeping it hidden. Away from her life, she also tells him the entire school thinks he torched Vic's car, then shows him the video. And that lands heavy guilt on him, with worry settling in. But he decides the safest move is to keep showing up to class, like nothing's changed. Back at school, his days turn into a rhythm of avoidance, ducking corners, timing exits, leaving class the minute the bell rings just to stay out of sight. He runs into his friend, who apologizes for not being there when it mattered most, then casually admits he cut his bike chain. Cal just smirks, disbelief written all over his face, and walks away without saying a word. This time, luck doesn't hold. The boys corner him, circling in tight while other students stop and form a ring, sensing what's coming. They jump him, fists landing hard, but Cal reaches for his brass knuckles and swings back, dropping the first guy clean, kicking the second between the legs, then twisting Vic's finger until he howls. The moment a teacher appears, the one-man squad runs while a group of students blocks Vic's way, killing any chase before it starts. On the way home, another crew pulls up and offers him a ride, grinning, praising what he did back at school, calling it guts, calling it strength, and hailing him with a new name,
Madman. 100%.
They drop him off at home and invite him out later that night, and he agrees. Once it gets dark, he heads to the game arcade where he meets the crew's leader and a girl who offers him something to take, but he refuses without making a scene, while she flirts with him lightly anyway. As they decide to leave, they invite him to join them somewhere else, but he turns it down again, choosing instead to call Cecily and ask her to meet him. Back home to his friend, as they talk, he mentions Runt being a stray and how he's been taking care of him since the day he found him. After a while, they proceed inside the house and sit on the sofa, but the dog starts whining, jealous in that dramatic, abandoned way. So Cal takes him outside to give them the needed space while the two settle in, leaning into each other comfortably.
Dude, come on, I have a girl in here.
By morning, she's still there, wandering his room, studying his drawings and praising his talent, but lingering a little too long on the papers with another woman's face. After he comes and trashes the sketch, she finds an unopened letter from Rhode Island, then pushes him to open it. And when he does, the rejection lands quietly and stares at him in the face, but it doesn't break him, doesn't even slowing him down. That same morning, he sees his friend out and they share a quick kiss on the lips before she leaves. When he calls out for Runt and hears nothing back, something feels off. He checks around carefully and notices the dog's bat smeared with blood. And after searching further, he finds its body stuffed inside a trash can. The shock hits so hard, it makes him physically sick. After mourning for a while, anger takes over and he storms into school, goes to confront Vic and his friends, demanding to know why they did it, but they deny everything, with their faces calm enough to make doubt creep in. Still, he starts watching them anyway, quiet and focused, trailing them like someone waiting for the right moment to strike. He's staring them down near the lockers when his admirer shows up and senses immediately that something is wrong. She realizes it's about the late dog, so she presses him to say who did it, but he can't. Not yet. Not without proof. The school packs in to watch the pre-match presentation, and with Vic injured and out, he steps up to hype the team, trying to lift the room, but the crowd doesn't respond. Every head already turned toward the one they've started calling Madman. As the chanting grows louder, someone shoves him toward the center of the court for a showdown. Words fly back and forth between him and his rivals, tension hanging thick until one of them calls him a loser and then makes the sound of a dog having his final moments. That single word and gesture infuriates Cal, making him storm out instead of playing along. That night, as the game unfolds and everyone's attention stays glued to the court, Cal moves carefully, quietly setting things up, placing what he needs where it will matter. He goes on to swap out what the boys intend to ingest into their bodies with something else, his face steady, movements controlled, like he's already run this through his head 100 times. Half-time in the game, the coach lays into the team with a furious edge, barking as he demands to know why they aren't playing to their strengths, why they look hesitant and small out there. One player apologizes, but he refuses to accept, teaching them that the word sorry is for weaklings.
You're sorry?
After unloading every sharp word he's been holding back, he storms off, leaving a heavy silence behind, and when the injured player finally tries to say something through the pain, his own friend cuts him off immediately, dismissing him before he can even finish his thought. When the players head back out, the two friends stay behind to get high, but almost immediately, they start reacting to the swapped substance, their bodies betraying them, movements jerky, voices breaking into screams until someone hears and chaos erupts. Emergency crew rush in and, watching it all unfold, Cal's two remaining friends exchange looks, realizing too late that their guy has been working behind the scenes. Later, the boy on a mission finds his rival alone, crying after his friends are taken away. He doesn't hold back, taunting him, bringing up his late dog, and accepting responsibility for his friend's woes until the boy snaps and chases him exactly as planned. Cal leads him to the spot he picked ahead of time, pulls out the bat, and swings, dropping him hard to the ground. The boy, doubled over in pain, admits he didn't plan to end the dog's life, only to deal with Cal until the animal attacked him first. The aggrieved boy then demands an apology, but he doesn't get one.
Apologize. No.
A lesson he learned from the coach. Instead, the football player waits for his moment, rushes him, takes him down, and starts raining punches until a gunshot cuts through everything, sharp and final. It's Borghi, breathless and feeling like an avenger who just showed up to save his friend. Cal realizes instantly that his friend has, as usual, made things worse, so he takes the gun from him, voice tight but controlled, and then orders him to get out of the school grounds as fast as possible. No arguments. The boy, who took Runt's life, tries to run but doesn't get far. And when Cal catches him again, the tone flips completely, apologies spilling out fast and messy. He promises to turn himself in, to do whatever it takes, but Cal doesn't buy it.
To make sure that you never do it again.
Convinced this is the kind of guy who always slips out of consequences. Now, with a weapon, a thought settles in heavy and cold. The only way to stop him from hurting anyone else is to make sure he never can again. That's when Miss Hotlegs appears and talks him down, telling him the culprit deserves punishment, not an end to his life. Then she swaps the weapon for the baseball bat, a sign that he can go on to use it as he deems fit. As the boy begs, Cal swings hard, twice, the sound of it followed by raw, uncontrollable sobbing. And when it's done, the friends walk away without looking back. Later, tucked off to the side, Cal mutters that he'll deal with whatever fallout comes on his own, but she refuses to leave, staying with him as they get rid of what they used, piece by piece. He asks her to go to the homecoming dance with him, but she repeats the same line about nobody going to those things. And this time, he doesn't argue. He just takes her hand, and they walk off together while sirens wail somewhere close enough to matter but not for them. He finally got his revenge for Runt using the bat, but at what cost? Here's my question for you. Was Cal right to take justice into his own hands? Or did he go way too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to know whose side you're on. And also, right on your screen are more of my recaps. Click one now. I'll see you there.